In this world, there are 9 races, including dragonfolk, elves, demons, and humans. The story begins with a young human named Light who's from a small village. He leaves his family behind for a chance to hit it big in the city and make enough money to live a lavish life. But right after he gets there, he gets lost on the way, and a wolfman treats him like trash when he stands in his way. Later at the guild, the receptionist registers him and explains he will be F rank since it is his first time. Then, she asks what his gift is, and he proudly tells her about his unlimited gacha. That leaves the lady confused, so he shows it in action by summoning the gacha crystal and pressing the button, which creates a card with a fork on it. The card materializes when he says release, and it forms into a completely useless fork. Light gets embarrassed and spins his gacha a couple more times, but the only things that come out are rotten apples and bread. While he assures the receptionist that his luck is usually not this bad, the lady quietly slides him the F-rank card he deserves. After that, he asks her which job he can start with, so she points him to the easiest tasks on the mission board. Light blankly stares at the mountains of text on the job offers, and that is when the lady realizes he is illiterate, just like most humans in the city. With that said, she pulls out the manual labor jobs that are always available and asks if he's fine with them, even though the pay is terrible. Light gladly accepts them and spends his days hauling wood, mining coal in caves, and coming back at night with barely enough money for a night at the inn. Just then, as he thinks it would be great if his gacha could at least make food, a gang of wolves bumps into him, and the guy bullies him for getting their clothes dirty. Next, he grabs Light's coin pouch and claims it is just enough to pay for his laundry, but when Light tries to get his inn money back, the guy brutally kicks him in the gut and tells him he can't buy squat with chump change like that. After that, the wolf gang heads off to grab some drinks using his hard-earned money, while the onlookers look down on the human boy like he's just trash lying in the street. Just then, he hears a gentle girl's voice call out and takes her hand, but he quickly falls back and apologizes when he realizes she is an elf. At first, he does not trust her when she promises she will not hurt him, so the girl wraps him in a tight hug even though everyone else on the street is disgusted. Light cannot believe it either that the elf girl sits down in the mud beside him and quietly wonders if this is all just a dream. The elf lady tells our boy that everything he is seeing is real, and her group introduces themselves as the Concord of the tribes. Light looks confused at first, so the wolf guy explains that each of them represents one of the 9 races born from the light of the deity. One by one, they all give their names, and once the introductions are over, the wolf guy says that the only thing their team was missing until now was a human. The dark elf Sion explains that their noble mission is to end racial discrimination, and with that, they all welcome Light into their party. Beaten and worn out, he quickly agrees to join. The story then shifts to the world's largest and most dangerous dungeon, the Abyss, where Light is suddenly attacked by giant mud-covered snakes with glowing red eyes. Just before one of them strikes, the Dragonout Drago saves him while the elf lady Sasha scolds him, saying he could have been taken out in a single blow. She then tends to his wounds, but gets embarrassed when the rest of the party teases her for acting like his mommy. Drago cheers Light up by saying no one could make a better cup of tea, and soon after, the party leads him deeper into the dark depths of the dungeon. Once they arrive, all of their expressions change completely for some reason, and Light assumes they are here for a break, so he begins preparing tea. However, Drago suddenly tells him that they are kicking him out of their so-called Concord of the tribes. He repeats it again, and when Light still does not understand, the wolf guy Garu mocks him by calling him deaf as he explains that they no longer have any use for him. Even Sasha now looks disgusted. Sayoni calls it his ignorance, pointing out how slow he is to comprehend, while even the dwarf Nano insults Light by bluntly calling him dead weight. The rest of the party adds similarly harsh words, but Light simply cannot accept it and asks if they are joking around. To make him understand, Drago explains that they only needed him in their party because of his unlimited gacha gift. Their higher-ups believed he might be a master because of that strange ability, which is why he was invited to the party and kept under observation. Now, it appears they have figured out the truth that Light is nothing more than a useless mess, and therefore, he is no longer needed. Sasha shows her disgust again, saying she was meant to marry the master and could never accept him being someone from the inferior human race. The Concord of the tribes, however, does not look like they are going to let the boy off the hook after they leaked so much info. They argue that they were given orders to get rid of him once and for all, revealing their intention to oust him not just from their party, but from his life as well. Garu takes the first shot and scratches the poor boy's face with his claws, making Light scream in pain as he tries to run for his life. But Sasha fires an arrow through his leg, causing him to fall to the ground. The Concord of the tribes calls his screams music to their ears while Garu kicks him and slams him across the floor before beating him again and again. They decide to make up a story that the boy was murdered by monsters, and the wolf guy raises his claws to attack once more and end his misery for good. However, Light refuses to give up on life and keeps crawling forward. He screams that he wants to live, and just as he places his hand on the floor to move another step, a giant purple magic circle appears beneath him, turning out to be a teleportation trap. The wolf dude tries to finish him before the spell can activate, but he fails, and Light vanishes from there. Inside the deep dark abyss, Light realizes he he was teleported somewhere far away, but there is no point because he is easy prey for any monster down here. He misses his family and wonders what he did wrong to deserve this, and feels devastated to realize that all the fun times he had with his party were all a big fat lie. Remembering the look of disgust on their faces and the way they smiled as Garu hunted him down, he forces himself to get up and swears he will murder every last one of them. Just then, a level 1000 monster shows up, and he panics because he only heard about them in myths. That is when it hits him that he was teleported to the deepest part of the dungeon. The boy, injured head to toe, slowly crawls back as the monster steps toward him, and he uses the only gift he has as a last-ditch effort. He smashes the button repeatedly and refuses to die like trash dumped and left to rot in the dungeon without seeing his family and getting his revenge. Suddenly, a huge magic circle appears below him, and the gacha shows a beautiful animation. A card appears with a brilliant flash of light, and the monster explodes into hundreds of pieces. Light stares in amazement at the girl who appeared out of nowhere. She kneels in front of him, and her powerful magic makes all of his injuries and pain disappear in an instant. Then she addresses him as master and requests him to give her the honor of hearing his name in his majestic voice. When Light awkwardly says his name, she says his name is as incredible as him and pledges absolute loyalty to her master till death do them part. After that, she introduces herself as May the Ever-Seeking Maid, a level 9000 super ultra rare card who comes from the unlimited gacha. Light is confused to hear that because his gacha was absolutely useless and there is no way an incredible lady like her could come out of there. Hearing that, May tells him she is not special and requests her master to simply call her by her name. She blushes with excitement when he calls her May, and then politely requests permission to use her appraisal skill to appraise the full details of his unlimited gacha. Light is impressed that she has such a useful gift, but May says that it is merely one of her skills and requests permission to appraise him again, because there is no way her master's gift can possibly be useless. After he grants her permission, she scans him head to toe and is blown away by how amazing his true potential is, and she reveals they are hidden by a seal that no one below her level can see through. Then she explains that his unlimited gacha is actually a broken ability because it can be rolled as many times as he wants, and the quality of its cards gets better depending on the density of mana in the area, going from extra rare and super ultra rare at the top to normal and error at the bottom. Seeing the confusion on his face, she explains that mana density is low on the surface, so it is only possible for him to summon powerful cards like her at the bottom of the dungeon. May is simply amazed by how brave he is to travel to the depths of the abyss to reach his peak potential, though she is worried that even a monster breathing in his direction could kill him at his current stats, so she offers to be his shield. Light, however, refuses it entirely and admits that he was just a lowly human who came here together with his companions, who betrayed him and even tried to murder him. He cries as he recalls all the cruel things they said to him, including mocking him for being nothing more than a lowly human. He tells May that all he ever wished for was to give his family a better life, and explains just how much pain he had to endure. He adds how the Concord of the tribes fooled him into their party by playing mind games and pretending they were fighting for a world without discrimination. He gets back onto his knees as he remembers how kind they had been at first, but then turned on him and tried to kill him. He vows to never forgive them and to never let them get away with what they did. The maid hugs him like a mother and gently requests his permission to line up all those scoundrels' heads in front of him within an hour, but Light stops May. He reveals his intention to become strong enough even though he is a human, and to claim his revenge with his own two hands. The maid bows to her lord and declares that his desire is her desire, promising to support him in every step of his journey. The boy smiles with determination and begins his path by pressing the button of his unlimited gacha as his very first step towards revenge.